Hello and welcome. It is Rebecca with Inspiring Your Shine podcast, and I am here today to talk about the things that are keeping you stuck and how to break the cycles that are repeating themselves in your life. These cycles might be about financial things. It might be about your self-esteem and your self-worth and feeling very frustrated that at over 50 years old, you're still feeling insecure and unworthy. Or maybe it is relationship problems that keep showing up in different people in different ways, but really the same story. Or maybe it is just that you're in a job that you hate and you are so frustrated that you keep having to do these things to survive, and all you want to do is make a pivot and do something else that will make you happy. Well, I want you to know that first of all, you're not alone. And the reason why I can talk to you about these things today is because I've been exploring and trying to figure out why in the heck am I stuck. I am especially frustrated because I have been in personal growth and development. I'm a life coach. I have been pursuing ferociously for a very long time. 1997 is when I first started getting into self-help, personal growth and development. I have read just about every single book out there. I know and understand all of the great thought leaders. I follow their ways. I'm a Christian. I follow the Word of God. So I have so many tools at my disposal, but yet I stay stuck in certain areas. So I would like to talk with you a little bit about my journey, what I discovered, so that maybe it can also help you to overcome the things that have been keeping you stuck in cycles and keeping you stuck in survival mode and feeling really frustrated that the time is ticking down. You're halfway through, at least probably around halfway through your life. And God willing, you have a long life, but that we start really thinking about, like, I really want to make this second half of my life the best that it could be. And so we want to really problem solve these things. And so what I want to share with you is some things that I learned. And so there are 3 different things that I've been learning lately that I want to share with you and hope that it can help you to break your cycle or to start to move and shift in a way forward that will help you to feel really happy about your life. And so one of the things for me has been that I had to recognize, and for a long time I denied it, is that I had childhood trauma. And I am not gonna let you think that you need to go digging way back into your past and feel all the feelings and all the hurts, but we do need to recognize that every single thing that we are doing in our life that is keeping us stuck in a cycle, it has roots of a lie or a belief, a narrative that started when you were a child. And that is why you're so stuck in it, is because you have been doing this over and over and re-establishing that belief system in all the things that you do over and over because this belief still exists there. So the way that I discovered this is working with somebody named Rebecca, and she has a program called The Treasure in You. And I've done some of this work before, and this one was really interesting because I'm just so ready to change and I'm just looking for whatever it is that I need to do to shift, right? And she asked me the question about where am I struggling? What are my goals? And it came out that I just feel really stuck and frustrated that I keep getting stuck with the same kind of clients that I don't feel like I can have good boundaries with, that I feel like I can't ever stop working because if I stop working, then everything's gonna fall apart and fail, that I have to be like completely responsive to clients when they need it in their emergencies, because if I don't do that, then everything is going to fall apart. This is causing a lot of havoc in my life because I'm not giving myself downtime. I'm not being present with my family because every time I feel like I want to stop, then I get all of this like anxiety that comes up in me to make me feel anxious that I have to keep working instead of relaxing or being present. And so this was my problem that I was trying to solve, and I really do want to be able to learn how to relax and enjoy my life, to actually live life instead of just work all the time. And she asked me about some thoughts that I had and where I first remember feeling those feelings or thinking those thoughts. This is the question that you want to ask yourself when you start to identify what is the cycle that you're stuck in and what are those thoughts and beliefs around that, and try to get to the root of it. So the first time that you ever remember thinking and feeling that, right? So it came out for me that there was a situation when I was 4 years old. And when I was 4, it was about tying my shoes, and my new soon-to-be stepdad hadn't been really around me, didn't know me very well. And apparently he thought that at 4 years old, I should be able to tie my shoes. He put me in a room and locked the door and told me I will not come out until I learn to tie my shoes. Okay, and I mean, I'm sure that he worked with me. I don't remember all of that, but what I know and understand is in that moment, she brought that up to me, and I realized that in addition with several things like that, especially from my stepdad, who didn't mean to do it. He wasn't trying to hurt me. It was probably what he thought was best for me. But what it did is it set a narrative in my mind that in order for me to survive, to be safe, to be loved, to please, to feel accomplished, that I would have to work really hard and figure it out. And it was only when I worked really hard and figured it out that I would be able to have the reward of the things that I needed and wanted, especially as a young child. So that is what was kind of set in motion for me, and it has played itself out in my life over and over and over, to where I don't feel like I can give a boundary to somebody, or I don't feel like I can say no, that I just have to trudge through and figure it out, and I can't rest or relax until I get to that place that I feel like I've done enough, which is basically never. And so it has caused a lot of havoc in my life, and that is the tip number one for you, is that you're going to have to pull up those roots of those lies and the things that are putting a narrative in your mind so that you could understand that that's where that came from. And it makes sense why you keep trying to align with it, but it is time to lay that down, to let it be a story of the past, and to understand that it was not right, and that you now can make a different choice. Now, I went through this activity, and if you've ever heard of this, it is the really going and being the savior to the young child that went through that. And me now as an adult gets to go in there and tell that child that it is okay. And so I did that work, and it has made such a difference for me, because I feel so empowered that it's okay for me to give a boundary. It's okay for me to not work for a moment. It's okay for me to recognize that I feel afraid of my safety, my security, and my provision, because I felt like it was all on my shoulders, even at 4 years old. And again, there was a lot of things that happened in my life that reinforced that. Like, I started working at 8 for my family's company. So that is like something else that reinforced my like work ethic and stuff. But I just want you to know that there might be something in your past, most likely there is, that is keeping you stuck in that cycle. And go and there's professional help, obviously, but you can also sit down with a journal and just really ask yourself those questions and try to get to the root so that you can understand it. And then you need to just soothe and encourage that young child so that that young child doesn't keep fearfully making decisions for you. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm not a counselor, but that is just my experience of how I understand it. And it has made a huge difference for me. Now, the next thing that I want to share with you is the second thing, is really letting go. And there are things that we keep in our life, whether emotionally, physically, even just in our own looks and the ways that we go about things, that are not going to allow us to get to where we want to go. So just like when you're trying to get healthy, there are things that need to shift and change in your lifestyle in order for you to be able to get to a healthier state of being. And we have to make changes, right? But it's very difficult because we are comforted a lot of times by the things that we have around us or the routines that we have. And the thing that I want you to know and understand is you will have to look at and let go of things that are holding you back in order to step in to that next version of you. Because if you were already that person, you would be doing things differently. I read a book and it's called Alter Ego. And what it is it helps you to step into the person that you want to be, the wholeness of you right now, today, in this very moment. And you just have little things that you can do to make a switch into that person. And then the more that you are kind of pretending, if you will, stepping into that alter ego, that you're already there, you've already arrived, then you can start to make changes in your life because you're believing that you are that person when you step into this alter ego. And so you'll want to probably read that information for yourself. But the big takeaways is that we need to identify who it is that we want to be. And there will be a what do you need to do differently in order to get there. Sometimes I have to tell myself, what is it that I am doing that isn't in alignment with my highest self of who I want to be? And so I have to tell myself, Bex wouldn't do that. And just to tell you a little story, I renamed myself Bex. My name is Rebecca. I grew up as Becky, and all the versions, Becca, Beck, then some people started calling me Bex. But I renamed myself to Bex with an X a couple of years ago because I really was looking to step into a new identity. And so I've been working to play that out in my life, as I want the second half of my life to be different than the first. And it's not that the first was bad, but I just want more. I want better. I want my fullest, my completion here on earth. And so in order for me to do that, I just felt really empowered to rename myself. Some people give themselves nicknames. It can be a piece of, it can be an article of clothing. It could be glasses. The author of the book, that was his thing, is whenever he put on his glasses, he felt like he stepped into his alter ego. And so we have to kind of play with the brain, and we have to put on almost like the suit of who we want to be and start playing into that. And start future pacing into that. Would that future version of you wear what you are wearing? Would they do something different with their hair or their looks? I know for me, my best version of me is definitely healthy. My best version of me apparently has dark hair, which I just now dyed my hair dark after being blonde all of my life. And it has been a really fun thing to just change the energy around how I see myself. And so there's a lot of different things that we can do about our physical appearance and the things that we're saying to ourselves when we're making decisions. Like, would that version of me do this? Would it make this decision? Would it eat this food? Also, looking around your environment and the things that you're surrounding yourself with, and realizing where you might be settling. Maybe you've had the same bed for a really long time, the same furniture because it's working, right? But is that really the version of you that you want to be? Is that what that version of you would own and have? Or are you just settling? So when it comes to the letting go and allowing something new to come in, it really does shift the energy for you. So we can go around each part of our house and think about what the things are that we don't really no longer align with for who we want to become. It can be with our looks and making those changes. It can be with every decision that we make, asking ourselves, is this what I want to do? Is this a decision that I want to make for my future life? And so it just gives you a different perspective, and that's really working for me. Like I said, I go by Bex, I dyed my hair, I am making different little changes around my house. I'm investing more in things because I'm asking myself, is this, it's worth it to me to invest a little more, getting something that I want instead of staying in that old scarcity mindset. So I hope that helps you. And then the very last thing that I have, the third thing that I think that we need to be doing is we need to make a plan for how we're going to execute this new way of being. we are going to stay on autopilot. We're going to keep leaning into the things that are comfortable, that we remember, that we know how to do, unless we make a plan that we can be then intentional about trying to make a change. So whether it's in your diet, whether it's in your routine, whether it's in your current position and career, whatever it is, you're going to need a plan to execute. And I think so many times we expect ourselves to change, but we don't recognize that we can't change who we are and do something different without really understanding what it is that we need to do. This is exactly why people hire trainers. This is why people hire stylists to help them to change their style, because they're just stuck in a rut. We get stuck in a rut. People hire nutritionists. People hire other things to help them, life coaches. And so a lot of times we will need a plan, and that is what those people provide. But it is something you can do for yourself. So you need to sit down once you have uprooted the old lies and you've identified where those started and what that narrative is, and you can start changing that narrative and not letting that child drive anymore. And then you move into creating an environment for you to thrive and looking around and saying, okay, what needs to change in my physical environment, in my person, in my mind, that is kind of old news and is just dragging me down, and identifying what that is and really working on letting go, stepping into that higher version of you, that person that you really want to be, even if it's just pretending, so that you can start to make some changes. But then you also have to make a plan of action. You might need support with some of or all of these things, but I really believe that these are the three kind of main categories that are helping me to step into the person that I want to be, because I have so many things that I want to change, and I get frustrated because I feel so far away from the goals that I want to have, either it be financially or with my health, just making changes in my life to be a better version of myself. And so sometimes it feels really overwhelming because I keep falling back into all of those old ways. But I am taking my own advice and I'm doing all of these things, and I hope that you would consider doing it too. And thank you so much for listening and sharing in my misery with me of what I've been through. But I hope that we can just join hands and step in together to our best life, because we deserve to shine. And especially over 50, it is time. So thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next time.